Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel again. Today I want to talk about something really close to my heart as English education students, and that is teaching English to young learner, or sometimes we call it TEYL. And in this video, I want you to throw the principle of TEYL, the skill we teach, the step, the method, and my favorite part of TEYL, like how we use song, games, and stories to make learning fun for kids. And let's get into it. But before we start, here's a quick map of what we're going to cover. The principle of TYL, receptive and practice skill, the steps in English skill, approach and methods and technique for a young learner, and finally, song, games, and stories. Let's start from the very beginning. So, first, what is TEYL. What exactly is TEYL? Simply but TEYL means teaching English to children, usually between 5 to 12 years old. And the key thing to remember is kids don't think the way adults do. They think constantly. Their attention span too short, and they learn best through their sense and through movement, not through explanation. What if we teach about the grammar so long? They feel bored. That's why TYA follows a few important principles. First, it has to be counter and textual. Use real object, picture, real situation, and the second is multisensory and active. Multisensory and active is look like kids learn by seeing, touching, moving, and the third is a meaningful repetition. Meaningful repetition is look like not a boring drilling, but repeating language is fun. And third ways, unless it has to be fun and low anxiety, so kids feel safe to try and make mistake. And then the next slide, we're going to characteristic of young learners. Now, before we teach, we really need to understand who we're teaching young learner have some unique characteristic. Wait, I will figure the PowerPoint. Okay. They have a short attention first. So our activities need to be short and snappy. And the second is they're concert thinkers, meaning they understand the true real things, not abstract ideas. And they learn by doing. So movement and hands-on activities work really well. And they're so naturally curious. They respond really well to praise and they love repetition, a routine that's actually why song and chants work so well with them. So um yeah, we're going to the next slide is about receptive versus productive skill. And let's talk about language skill. In language teaching, we we usually divide skill into two big group. First is receptive, and the second is productive. Receptive skills are when learners take language in that listening and reading. And productive skills are when learners put language out that speaking and writing. And for young learners, we usually focus more on listening and speaking first because um, that's more natural for how kids acquire language, just like how we learn our first language as a babies. And that's about receptive and productive skill. You can see on the PowerPoint. And then the next slide, we're going to talk about steps in teaching receptive skill. So, how do we actually teach listening and reading step by step? Um, both of them actually follow the same three-stage pattern: pre, while, and pause. In a pre-stage, we build readiness. We introduce the topic and the pre-stage, a few key vocabulary words, and in the while stage, learners listen or read while doing a simple task, like a pointing to a picture or uh, what is it? Matching cards. And in the post stage, we check their understanding, maybe through some question, retelling, or short drawing activities. And the next steps is how to teaching productive skills. And for speaking and writing, this follow a different flow from a control to free. We call it model, practice, and produce. First model, the teacher shows the language clearly, and then say this all right in its example. Then practice. In the practice, learners repeat or copy in a guided way, like canting together or doing a gap fill. And finally, in a produce, free real use, the learners use the language more independently, short dialect, simple sentence, and mini stories. So, like making their own short sentence in a simple dialogue like that. And then we're going to approach and methods in TEYL. Now let's zoom out a little and talk about bigger methods usually used in TEYL. There is six approach and method. First is total physical response or TPR. In the TPR, learners respond to command with action like can you stand up or touch your nose or can you jump like that. And the second is communicative language teaching, which is focused on real interaction, not just grammar drills. And the third is audiolingual method. In the audiolingual method, the repetition and pattern drilling to build automatic response. And the fourth is direct method. In the direct method means we use the target language directly with gesture, no translation. And fifth is text-based learning. And text-based learning is get learner to complete a real text using English. And last is storytelling approach. Storytelling approach is where language is taught through narrative and characters. And then, and the next slide is about technique in teaching young learners. Beyond the big methods, there are what is it? There are also a smaller everyday techniques that really make a difference in the classroom. Things like using rally and flashcard to make a new word concert, and when you using gesture and mime and meme to help meaning like a chance and print for pronunciation, pair and group work to build speaking confidence, and then sometimes visual aids and color for the visual learners, and of course positive reinforcement like a praise and sticker to keep them motivated. And then when we teach young learners, sometimes they interested to listen some songs. Uh, this is the fun part of teaching young learners is about teaching with songs because songs are amazing for both rhythm, pronunciation, and also a vocabulary because kids generally enjoy them. And the steps are simple. First, choose and pre-teach. Pick a simple repetitive song and teach a few keywords first. Then, give them listen the song and notice, like play the song and let them notice the rhythm. And after that, they can sing with action, like at some movement while singing together. And then finally, repeat and personalize. Sing it again and do with puppets or props, like that. And now we can do teaching with games if we want to teach young learners. And then games turn boring practice into play, purposeful play. It really lowers agency while still reinforcing the language. We start by setting clear rules, explain the game simply, and you must remember young learners must give a clear rules, and after that they can join the games enjoyably. Then we model it first. Play one round so they can understand, and after that they plan in teams or pairs using games like a bingo, Simon Says, or a memories game, and we all close with a quick debrief or like a recap the keywords they use during games. Like when I have been teaching young learners, and I usually use Simon Says because that's so fun for young learners. So that's really helpful if you want to teaching young learners with games. So, and I do teaching with games when I doing online teaching. I usually use website a quiz game interactive like a zip or quiz, and that's so interactive for them, and that's so make them enjoy it learning English with game. So next is teaching with stories. Yeah, last but not least is stories. Stories give a language real context. So the kids follow character and plot, not just random words. And we do a print story for a warm up first, like show the cover, predict what's going to be happen, and we teach a few words. And then we tell it with expression, a different voice, pose, using a picture while telling, and the last is we interact. Pose the next question or let them guess what happened next. And afterward, learners can retell or act it out, or even draw their favorite part. And yeah, this is we're gonna putting it together to classroom example. To put all of this together, let me give you a quick example. Let's say the topic is family members. We will start with a warm up, singing a finger family song with puppets, then print it, vocabulary using flashcard, like mother, father, sister, brother, then practice with TPR. Point to your mother, then a game, like a memory matching game with family card, then a short story about a family at the park. And finally, for production, the learners draw label their own family tree. See, in just one lesson, we already use song, game, stories, TPR, and both receptive and productive skill all in a way that's fun and it's appropriate. And we close to the end of this presentation. Yeah. So to sum it all up, when we teach English to young learner, we're not just teaching language. We're teaching a child. We're teaching kids. We combine clear principle, balance, practice of receptive and productive skill, the right methods, and playful technique like a song, game, and story. So a children can acquire English naturally, confident, and joyful, not worried. So that is for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.